Hello, everybody. I'm Azure Isk, and today I decided, actually I've thought about doing this for a while, just talking about the different characters we've seen in Volume 4, how they changed, my impressions of them. Fair warning, I've seen up through Chapter 9, so it's possible there might be some spoilers coming up. And begin it with, I plan on introducing them as we were introduced to them through the series. Oh, let's go. Starting off with Team Witch, you have Dr. Watts. Now we haven't seen too much of him actually. Um, he seems very much a perfectionist. He seems very proper, haughty. I actually kind of like him so far. I'll get to that in a minute. He's not real fond of Cinder. He's not real fond of failure. He thinks that she really didn't do very well in rather it. She didn't do as well as she could have at Beacon Vale. But we really haven't seen much of what's going on. He was directed to go to Mistral, which is where um Ruby and Juniper are headed. And deal with the contacts there, but we haven't seen much past that. Moving on, we have Tyrion, crazy psychotic. Ah he was originally we find out he's a scorpion faunus. We find out it doesn't take very long to find out. He's a little bit crazy. Oh, we do find out he's a scorpion faunus with his weapon is actually really cool. He's got two blades that have pistols in between them. It's actually a weapon idea I've had for years. Not one I could ever wield, but there you go. I was originally sent to go after the Spring Maiden, I believe, which skipped winter for some reason. Excuse me. Just kind of weird. Then he gets changed to go after Ruby for the insult to Cinder, and he gets really excited up until the point he was told to bring her back. He was not nearly as excited about that. But he agrees to do it because he had a divine mandate to do so. And next we see he tracks Ruby all the way to Higginbana and asks the waitress there, which I kind of wonder if that waitress is still alive now. And that's kind of a sickening thought, but knowing his personality, it's entirely possible he would have killed her. But then we actually get to see him fight, and he quite easily handles, the quote unquote heroes. And we find out that he's a faunus, and he fights actually rather well using his 5 legs or 5 appendages. He seems to have very good awareness. He's a very skilled fighter, if a little crazy, a lot crazy. He takes an interest in John. There's Arcos 2.0. And yes, I'm going to keep calling it that because I like to. Then we see him about stab Ruby, and then Crow comes in at the very last second to save the day. And then we get to see, Crow versus Tyrion fight, which is very crazy and insane. Crow's actually trying to fight a war on 2 fronts there, as he's trying to protect, Ruby and the other kids. It eventually gets to the point where his tail gets partly chopped off, which in a lot of ways I'm kind of worried for Ruby now, because that went from a divine mandate to get her and bring her back to something very personal. He also talks about where she'll understand, that he had to back off seeing all of these in front of him. Moving on to Cinder, the new Fall Maiden. She got royally reamed by the Silver Eyes. Lost an arm, lost her voice, it seemed like the use of her arm. And she uses, somebody else to speak for her now, as she really can't say very much. It's kind of a shame because Jessica Nigiri had a fairly nice voice. Oh well, as you do. Um, and she's sitting there, recuperating and trying to get stronger under the god's help. Has um she gets to stay there, and she doesn't look very happy about being forced to stay instead of going back out. She's forced to stay with Salem. And we haven't really seen too much of her other than like those 2 points. And moving on to the last member of the Council of Justice, we have Hazel, which I'm almost certain is a Faunus, because Adam, our wonderful, friendly badass that we all know and love to death, has set up a meeting between him, the representative from the council, to Sienna Khan, which is apparently either the leader or the sub-leader of the entire White Fang group. We find out that Sienna Khan is the one who stepped up after somebody else stepped down. So, other than that, we don't really see much of, Hazel at all. Moving on to Team Crime, we've already talked about Cinder, and as far as Roman goes, candy. Oh, where was I? Oh, yes, Mercury. Moving on, we see Mercury's one of the first we see. He's looking at the Grim spawning from the pools. It's actually, I feel a bit of catharsis at seeing Mercury rather unsettled a number of times. He doesn't really like Watts, so whether that's because he insults Cinder or because he feels insulted himself. And he's held back from actually going after Watts, which makes me wonder if Watts actually is fairly powerful. Because Dr. Watts, according to the general structure, he would be the leader of, Team Witch. The Council of Justice. So, we also see him be rather unnerved at the sight of the seer, which was also very nice to see. Other than that, we don't really see very much of it. Moving on, Emerald has become kind of the voice of Cinder now, which is alright. We see in the council room she's actually without her weapons, which is either because she's not actually a member of the council or because nobody has weapons in that room, out of respect. We see her also a bit unnerved, and she seems more concerned than Mercury. Mercury just seems, kind of like, ugh. But Emerald actually seems concerned, worried about it, and she also seems concerned about Ruby and all that, especially after we see her look that way at the fall of Vale Beacon. But other than just those 2 times, I don't think we've really seen Emerald either. Moving on, we have the who Tyrion at least considers a goddess, though many of the others do still hold her in high respect, or at least fear. You can see, as they're sitting there bantering back and forth between themselves and Cinder, Salem starts opening the door, and all of them instantly quiet. All of them instantly stand up. All of them are very immediate responses to Salem. There's no question, there's no backing down. And oftentimes they don't even do that. Salem has a presence. In some ways, I think Ozpin does too. Ironwood does not. Crow does not. Crow and Ironwood both command. But their command is trained. They've learned how to command. Or have a sense of command where everybody stops and listens. Ozpin, to an extent, and especially Salem, you stop and listen. She's always very quiet, except for one point, she's very quiet. She's very calm, collected, and quiet for the most part. She sits there and goes, Dr. Watts, do you believe, such malevolence is necessary? She's very calm. Her voice is quiet, which is actually a rather interesting trick to get people to listen to you. voice your voice a little bit lower than normal, and they'll actually pay more attention. Weird quirk with psychology. Not entirely certain why it works, but it does. We do see her get very angry once when she asks for confirmation from Cinder if she killed Ozpin. Which I actually want to say that, looking back, I want to say Cinder was telling the truth as she knew it. She believes she killed Ozpin. I want to say that. Partly because she was kind of gloaty after that fight, once Pyrrha came in. And she smiled as she came up, but also up the elevator. But also just her interactions so far in this volume leads me to believe that she believes she killed Ozpin. And I guess in some definitions, from what we've seen, she has. That'll actually be next video. Hoping I keep doing these. But yeah, Salem is certainly in control. Now, whether she, how far reaching her control is, I don't entirely know. I have a few guesses. I think she has a very strong influence in like Vacuum. A fairly strong influence, in Menagerie, indirectly. And also, I want to say a fairly strong influence in Mistral, because she has contacts there. Dr. Watts is going to, and Dr. Watts is also one I think might interact with Jacques very, very favorably. Just very upright, proper, and a few other adjectives. But Salem commands. She's obviously in control of the Grimm. The Grimm report to her how much force she has. So, yeah. And Salem is certainly currently winning the battle. There's not a whole lot of question there. Or at least winning the war. Now, as these things go, do I expect her to win the war? Not really. It's just kind of how stories go. But right now, she's certainly winning. I don't think, we're coming up towards the end of Volume 4. I imagine if Tyrion comes, stays around, Tyrion has a very good chance of getting Ruby, Jon, and Crow. Currently. An insanely good chance. They might run into Dr. Watts, which is sitting there with, in Mistral with the contacts, getting ready to cause some concern. Which everything in Mistral is available for a price. We may see Hazel because there's some White Fang stuff going on out in a menagerie, depending on. Because I don't think they ever said where the meeting was that Adam set up. Cinder's still kind of with Salem. And with Salem are Mercury and Emerald. Anyway, that's those, 9 characters. So, anyway. There's going to be some links that way. Eventually I'll get that straight in my head. Probably one to a random video, and possibly one to probably the RWBY playlist for Rooster Teeth. If you haven't seen any of it, go do so. It's actually a really fun series, and honestly, if you haven't seen at least some of RWBY, why are you watching this video? For those of you that have seen it, and any of you that haven't, and just curious on my thoughts, thank you for watching. I really actually do appreciate it, and come talk to me. You can see my Twitter down there. There you go. That's all better. You can see my Twitter down there. It's at @AzureIs_RWBY. Anyway, I hope you have a good day. Bye!